It's a special edition of WeatherScope with the latest winter storm update.
Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel studios. I'm Sharon Resulton, broadcasting live from the Forecast Center of the Weather Channel. I want to update you now on a very latest storm. As I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a story when Arctic air meets up with Gulf moisture, you get one big mess. And that's exactly what we're working with in the southeast. Let's take a look at a satellite picture, and we'll show you again a lot of the moisture streaming on into the northeast, but still enough moisture as we work our way back down into the south across this region here that we're seeing significant icing. And as we head on into Atlanta, we had some reports of some of the on-camera meteorologists who headed home later this evening and encountered some very icy conditions, reports of numerous cars off of I-75 heading on northward, and also reports of significant icing on up into eastern Tennessee. So not a good night to be out and about. Of course, cold air is another big part of this story. Look at the temperatures that we're working with now. 25 below up around International Falls. It's 22 below in the Twin Cities, 13 below around Chicago, and as far south as Atlanta, below freezing, and that's very crucial. That means it's not just the bridges and the overpasses that are slickening up, even the interstates are slickening up. And again, numerous reports of 10 and 20 car pileups along parts of Interstate 75. It is a very dangerous situation. The wind chill's factoring in here, making it dangerously cold to even step out the door. If you do venture outside, make sure you are bundled up from head to toe. And wind chills like this in the upper Midwest, it is not difficult at all to receive frostbite in a matter of minutes. And there's your wind chill forecast on into Saturday. Jill Brown dealing with wind chill too in the below zero category. She's there in D.C. And Jill, it looks like the snow is picking up.
Yes, Sharon, the last few hours it's been snowing a little bit harder. Our total accumulation for the day is probably somewhere around 4 or 5 inches, which isn't that bad. We're not going to have the worst of it here in Washington, D.C., but let me tell you what we will have. We're here in West Potomac Park, and there's enough snow to cover the roadways. They kept a lot of people home today or sent them home early, so conditions on the roadways have been fairly good because they got a chance to get out and salt and plow and sand. As a matter of fact, we took a quick little drive around. We're not too far from a lot of the monuments, and actually a lot of folks were out at the monuments this evening. I guess if you come to D.C., you can't let a little snow slow you down at this point. But if you're going to be out on the roadways, I guess the best news is there aren't a lot of obstacles out there like other cars. It is going to be a little bit slick this evening, and the snow is likely to pick up, and by the time we get up tomorrow morning and head out, the snow should be winding down, but at that point we'll have anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of snow on the ground. Nothing like the blizzard, but kind of a rough weekend for folks here in the D.C. area.
Okay, Jill, we'll be checking in with you once again. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. Let's take you now on up into Atlantic City. It was not a good day for a walk on the boardwalk. We're actually expecting the brunt of the snow up around the Cape and heading on into Long Island. We think this region will see significant snow. We're getting now some reports of some light snow falling in New York City, both with LaGuardia and JFK airports, and it's going to be streaming on up toward Hartford. Many of these regions seeing some significant snows, and we'll be talking more about snow amounts as we head into the upcoming hour. Let's check things out as we go a little bit closer on up toward Washington, D.C., around the Baltimore area, steady snows. As you work your way downstate, we're running into a little mixture of precipitation in some of those spots. Still getting some reports of some mixed precipitation heading around Lynchburg, and Norfolk occasionally getting some reports of some light freezing drizzle. Well, our next stop is going to take us into Middle Tennessee. Jeff Morrow is standing by, and Jeff is going to tell us how conditions are faring there. That's been one of the hardest hit areas with ice, right, Jeff?
That's right. Southeast of here down toward the Chattanooga area, just a tremendous amount of ice. Also reports of a lot of ice in northern and northeast Alabama. So a bad ice storm there. They dodged the bullet as far as any ice storm here, but they got the snow. I guess if you had to weigh the two, the lesser of two evils would probably be the snow, even though driving is treacherous here, and there is some what they call black ice underneath the roadway. Now, there was about 3 or 4 inches of snow where we are here, but a little bit farther east in a town called McMinnville, it was a lot worse.
Continue to have slick conditions, and I told you some of the pretty dramatic things happening as we head toward the Atlanta metro area. Okay, let's take a look at radar now, and Middle Tennessee saw some snow. Eastern Tennessee is seeing the majority of the ice. As we head into the Knoxville area, we're still seeing some areas of some sleet and some freezing rain across eastern Tennessee, all that pushing off to the north and northeast. And a quick look now around the Atlanta area. We continue to see this band of freezing rain and sleet pushing off to the east and northeast, but a virtual coating of ice along all of the interstates. In fact, in Atlanta, it appears as though the interstates at this time seem to be almost in worse condition than some of the side roads. So little Word of advice for you is to take it easy out there, and even as we head down into North Florida, you want to keep in mind that there are some slick conditions there, mainly just due to the rain. We're going to check on the forecast back in the studio. Here it is.
Thank you, Sharon. The current weather map, not only the storm in the east, but we have a little bit of a low pressure area, weak one, moving over parts of the southern Rockies with winter weather advisories out for parts of Colorado, New Mexico, and the Texas, Oklahoma Panhandle area, where several inches of snow could fall, along with some bitter wind chills. As you look at the Saturday morning weather map, a new system bringing rain to central and northern California as a storm system moves off the coast here of Delaware. Heavier snow still around Long Island, possibly as far north as Cape Cod. Boston, you'll be on the extreme northern edge of some of the heavy snow. As we go to tomorrow afternoon, there's a low pressure area still with the snow falling southern New Jersey, parts of Long Island, and coastal areas of Massachusetts, or Cape Cod area at least, and a few light rain showers as you move back into California. That cold Arctic high pressure moves all the way.
It'll go till about 9 o'clock in the morning, then taper off to flurries. Accumulation 6 to 12 in the city, less north and west. Folks down at the shore, a foot or more. 18 degrees for the high. Sunday, a high of only 15 degrees.
Parts of Oklahoma have picked up over a foot, and the same is true for Virginia and on into parts of the Delmarva. Here we go again. You better believe it. Salisbury, Maryland, 11 inches of snow. D.C., 4. More on the way, though. Annapolis, about 4 inches of rain so far. Your snowfall forecast calls for an additional 6 to 10 inches of snow for D.C. Philly, we think you're going to escape the heavy snow. 3 to 6 inches is what we're thinking right now. New York City, same story. And obviously wintry travel is going to be a problem in all of these locations into the early morning hours, and then during the day you will see it continuing, but tomorrow night it should be coming to an end. Let's look at national radar and sum things up for you. A little bit of light snow moving through New Mexico into the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma. Yes, you are getting another shot at some snow, and this will be moving on across the southeast too. Still looking at some stronger thunder showers across Florida tonight. Orlando and Tampa, from Hartford and New York City back towards D.C. All right, let's show you your forecast for the Northeast.